So it's official. What was a request is now set in stone. Brian Callahan has 4 head coaching interviews coming up. So starting off right away, his first interview will go ahead and be on Friday with the Tennessee Titans. Then he will go ahead and proceed that interview with a coaching interview with the Panthers, Falcons, and Chargers. Keep in mind, and it says right here, the Chargers will be on Tuesday, and then so on and so on. Keep in mind, just because he's interviewing with those teams does not mean he's going to sign with those teams, let alone be their head coach of those teams. Usually how teams work is they interview a lot of different people, and they kind of break it down to who they want and who they don't want. So, for example, they might interview 5 coaches or 5 OCs, DCs, and then be like, okay, out of those 5 guys, these are the 2 we like the most, and then you go down to the final 2. We saw this last year with Lou for the Cardinals job, between Lou and Rich Gannon, and it came down to 2 people, our guy and Rich Gannon. Cardinals decided to go with Rich Gannon because they said he had the it factor, and they ended up going with him instead of going with Lou. Therefore, we kept Lou, and the Cardinals went and had an amazing season. I'm not trying to roast the Cardinals here, so yeah. Now, keep in mind with Brian going for this position, again, multiple positions here, Tennessee, Panthers, Falcons, Chargers. Keep in, the back of your head, I'll say it like this, that these teams are, again, weighing all their options. There are some great head coaches out there. Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, crazy to say that still. Potentially Pete Carroll. I know Pete Carroll got a higher roll-up in Seattle Seahawks, but based on his press conference, it's very clear he wants to coach. He wants to be a coach still. So it's very possible that, depending on how the situation go, he could leave that team and become a coach. And then again, you have a whole entire list of other coaches who are also available. So a lot of times teams, I feel like they hedge their bets. If they don't feel like they're going to be able to get someone like Bill Belichick or Jim Harbaugh, for example, they're kind of have all their options laid out and say, okay, these are the guys that we know we could probably get if we wanted them, right? Brian Callahan is one of those options. But we're going to first interview those guys, and then when we get the chance or the opportunity to interview the other guys, like Bill Belichick, etc., then we'll kind of see if we can get those guys. That's our number 1 option. But if not, we have a number 2, a number 3, a number 4, a number 5, and we have a list of guys we can go with in case, for example, let's say they don't get Bill Belichick. Now they say, okay, we have Brian Callahan as number 2. We'll go with Brian Callahan. Because it's very possible, especially as you go throughout the process, that the Falcons could take their number 3. The Chargers could take their number 4. Number 5 could go to the Tennessee Titans, right? So it's like, you got to start hedging your bets, and you can't put all your eggs in one basket. So what we're going to see is, while Brian Callahan is getting this, interview chance, it doesn't mean that he is their number 1 team for whoever he's interviewing for. He could be interviewing for the team, and they're looking at him like, okay, this is our number 4. This is our number 4 option. And if the first 3 get signed somewhere or get jobs, this is the guy we're going with. You have to have backup plans. So I think that's kind of how this whole thing is going to work. Where, again, could it end up being that these guys, that Brian Callahan's number 1? Absolutely, it could be. We saw that last year with Lou, who he ended up being number 2. So, and, it's 1A, 1B, because he technically could have gotten the job, but Rich Gannon got the job. As it says right here, there are 8 head coaching vacancies, which means at least 25% of the NFL will be having a new head coach next season. So, it is a very crazy time, and I will say for Brian Callahan here, I kind of do feel bad for him in a way. Because I feel like, last season, obviously, he almost gets a head coaching job. I think it was in Tampa Bay or the Colts. I forget which one was which. Dan Pitcher and Brian Callahan both were going to leave us. One guy, I think it was Brian Callahan, I believe, had a job in the Colts. And I want to say Dan Pitcher had a head coaching, not head coach, I think it was either head coaching or OC over there in Tampa Bay. I think it was head coaching in Tampa Bay. But again, like I said, it ended up not working out. Now, this season, there's a lot more people in the mix, right? Last season wasn't as many people. This season's a lot more people. So I kind of feel bad for him in that aspect of, like, I don't feel like Brian Callahan's going to be the number one choice for any team who needs a new head coach. It's just, you can't. I mean, there's so many good options. But again, they're going to have to settle for 1, 2, or 3 guys, depending on who gets signed. So, here's how I'll look at it, right? If he leaves us, where do I think he'll go? I think he'll go to Carolina. I think what will end up happening here is Tyler Boyd will probably sign with the Panthers in the offseason. I think he'll go there, sign Tyler Boyd. Hayden Hurst is already there, and I think they're kind of see what they can do with Bryce Young. And I think that probably at the end of the day, so I don't really like Brian Temper, their owner, but I feel like that's the best place for him that's available. And what I mean by available is I don't think the Chargers are going to be available because I think it's going to be, Bill Belichick. But even then, I think that's a kind of set for failure. The Panthers, I feel like, are in a team where, they just fired the head coach, they fired the GM. But I feel like they're in a spot where if Brian comes in there and it's somewhat successful for them, I think they'll keep him. But if he goes to the Chargers and the Chargers don't have a playoff season, they're probably going to not fire him, but there's a chance they'll fire him. So I feel like for the best for his longevity success, it's going to be a team like the Panthers who, really, you just got to do better than last season. Which this season so far, what were they, like 3-13, 3-14? So there isn't much expectations, just be better than the last guy. For the Falcons, I think with Arthur Smith, almost making the playoffs, there's a lot of high expectation. Chargers, this is a team that made the playoffs last season. This season, obviously, fell short. So, I think the best option is probably the Panthers. And for us, again, like I said, I know some people comment down below and said it would be awesome we got Eric Bieniemy. It would be, but it's probably going to be Dan Pitcher. It's probably be Dan Pitcher becomes the OC, and Zach Taylor will probably still be calling the offensive play calls next season. So, it is what it is, man. Like, we can sit here and complain about it and be like, oh, no, we got to get someone new. But at the end of the day, the Bengals are going to do whatever they feel like is best for the Bengals. And promoting within is just how this works. So, we'll see what ends up happening. Maybe they'll go out there, but I highly doubt it. I think they're just going to keep it within the house and see how that works out. So tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, guys. Keep in mind I will be live for all of the NFL playoff games this year. I will be live tomorrow twice for the Steelers game and for... Who plays tomorrow? We got the Steelers-Bills, right? Well, I can't think of the other game. It is the Dolphins-Chiefs. That's why. Peace out, guys.